ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of NextGenTCG. It is a new year, new me, new you, Zach, new shirt. Looks much better than last shirt.
Ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Quick reminder before we get going. We are on the everywhere now: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to us. Video form, I always recommend because you get to visually see what we're talking about. But we try to also cater to our audio audience as well. Happy New Year, Zach. How was your New Year? How was your holidays?
Man, I feel like just travel has been like crazy. I was in Japan and then went to LA CollectCon, then went and visited some family in southern part of the United States. And like I was like sick for like 2 weeks. It was like not good at all. I feel like everyone in my mother like got COVID. And so there's so many people that were just like sick over the holidays that it's finally a new year. It's like, all right, let's get started. Like 2025 was so crazy that it's just like I am just ready for a fresh 2026, whether Pokemon goes up or down or sideways. Like I'm just ready for something different. Like what about you?
It was a good holiday, low key. Made a pretty big sale on New Year's that I shared with you, but we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I just before we get started into like the market trends, I kind of just want to like do a recap of 2025. I think they will also do like big bold predictions for like 2026 because 2026 is such a big year for Pokemon. We're talking about our 30th anniversary. Man, Pokemon's been around for 30 years, Zach. We are 1 year. We are 1 year closer to being in the grave. You and me, 1 foot in the grave. Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of like recap. Like 2025 was kind of like the boom of modern, and then the end of the Scarlet and Violet era, which is I kind of view it's kind of like a renaissance of Pokemon. Like it started a bit with Sword and Shield, but I feel like for some reason Scarlet and Violet really it kickstarted the modern craze. Things have kind of flattened down. So I kind of like equate Scarlet and Violet a little bit to like the E series of modern day Pokemon. It's just so much new art, so much variety of art, taking a lot of chances on art. Like if you take a look at like traditional WotC with the old Sugimori and Arita art, the cards kind of look all the same. But with like Scarlet and Violet, starting with Sword and Shield, it's just there's so much fantastic art, and I was just kind of like backtracking from then, and it really solidified to me like the Sun and Moon era was just terrible. It was a really bad era for Pokemon cards. It was so bad. The artwork was so boring. The chase cards are like the hyper rare cards with all like the same artwork. They all kind of like look the same. And it was like if Pokemon would just continued with like the Sun and Moon trend, like Pokemon would have died. The TCG would have died for collectors. Sun and Moon is so bad. Sword and Shield better, but like I feel like Scarlet and Violet just like peak modern.
I'm right there with you with the art. I think if the art was bad for Pokemon, I think it would be not in the same place it is today. Like, there are like a ton of players out there for Pokemon, which is great, but there are also like a ton of collectors. There's more collectors of Pokemon than any other TCG that's out there being a trading card game. And so if the art like wasn't there like on point, like we have so many lovers of different types of Pokemon like Gengar, Pikachu, Charizard, if like it just fell flat over and over again, like this new Charizard art, insane. Literally insane, one of the best of all time. And it's like widely there's a consensus that people love it as well too. That if you're just buying like bad art, it's like I wouldn't want to collect that. Eventually you just like lose your desire. Like maybe you go to One Piece, maybe you go to Magic, you go somewhere else. But I think at Pokemon, I think it really started with Tag Team when you have like Gladios Latias art. Then you had like Unbroken Bonds right after that. I think that was for me is really when the best art started. I was not a big fan of Black and White. And then when it comes like the split of like where vintage and like modern is, for me, it's like right after Diamond Pearl ended, like Black and White. I feel like that's like where modern starts for me. And then it's like, I don't really collect, like modern is such a different just beast in itself that if the art was on point, I don't think I'd collect anything modern.
All right, so just wrapping a bow in the Scarlet Violet era since it ended last year, and then I think Mega Evolutions came out near the end of the year. Top 3 artworks from Scarlet and Violet.
From Scarlet and Violet, top 3. I mean, I love, the SV1A Mew. I think that is, like, one of the best arts. I think that's just phenomenal, phenomenal card.
Okay, number two, another one.
You go. Let's hear yours.
First off, I'm gonna put this out there. I really dislike the prismatic Umbreon artwork. I do
Mhm.
not like it at all. I do not like that art.
It's a little much.
It's a little much, a lot going on. It's just too much going on. It's just too much
Mhm.
going on. I would I have to say the Mewtwo from Destined Rivals, solid, really good one. All right, so number two, I'm a Cynthia simp, so Cynthia's Garchomp from from once again Destined Rivals, up there for me as well. You go now.
So, I love Kanda, like, the artwork, everything they do just blows my mind how much detailed it is. So, I gotta go with the Magneton, like, the Surging Sparks, the promo for the ETB, that Magneton. I love how intricate it is, I love that it's different. To me, it feels like Kamiya. Kamiya is one of my all-time favorite artists. It's so detailed, and, it's card I had a big position in and ended up selling it, maybe a couple months ago. But, no, I just that Magneton is so cool.
Number three for you.
I gotta think about that because, like, number 3 feels like you're gonna leave something off, and it's like, what are you leaving off? And it's like the card you're not thinking of, like, right away. Um, man, I probably would go with, Missy's Lapras, just for how basic and simple it is. It's just a big Lapras chilling, Missy's on the beach. It doesn't feel like a weird, like, 13-year-old girl in some crazy pose. It's, like, actually just Misty, just chilling on the beach with Lapras, which is, like, an iconic card, and so, anytime you have a Misty card, you always feel good about it, so I love that it's just kinda, like, more of just, like, a chill scene and stuff, so no, to me, it's not, like, crazy art, but, like, I love art that goes beyond the vibes. Like you can feel the emotion and stuff. Like the Mew, obviously, you feel that no matter what. And I think the Lapras just is kind of just sets the scene. I'd put that in the bathroom. I'd put that like somewhere, just like one of those like little beach pictures you see somewhere.
That would be a good bathroom picture, bathroom artwork piece. Yeah, you should get that blown up. Just like a gigantic one
Little
for your
beach
bathroom.
pic.
A
Yeah.
beach bay. Number three for me, I'm gonna go with the Black Bolt Zekrom SAR, not the metal one, the lightning
Really?
one. I like that card. I like
It's
that card
kind
a
of
lot.
cool. It is kind of cool. I don't hear a
Yeah,
lot of people talk about it either, but that
yeah,
is like a pretty sick looking card when you have it in person, like the
yeah.
little blue effects and stuff.
At the last card show I bought, I actually, I hate you. I talked to you about this. I hate card holders,
Mhm.
like the plastic things.
No,
But
yeah.
at the vendor, before I even because I sent one to PSA for grading that SAR, they had like like how people like make those card holders with like where they expand the artwork with
Mhm.
the card. I bought one of those at a card show just because I like that art so much.
It's like the
Um,
Viet case or whatever.
yeah, yeah, something like that. When it comes, I'm gonna buy a PSA 10 copy eventually as I wait for my personal one to come back. But I'll once it comes in, I'll put it in the case and I'll show it to you. It looks really cool. It's a cool looking card. I like it a lot. So shout outs to SNV Scarlet Violet era finishing off in 2025. Did tremendous things for the hobby, keeping things relevant, keeping people interested, bringing people in the hobby. 151 obviously big, real big, continues to be big. I would say obviously generational set. Um, I would also say Best of Rivals is a kind of generational set as well. But we'll get into that a little bit later in market trends. I don't know. Next thing I want to talk about, do you, it's kind of been kind of circulating. Did you ever watch the video of Confessions of a PSA grader that was posted a
I
couple
saw
days
the
ago?
clips. I read some of the comments, saw the clips. Just the guy hopping on, like he was kind of sensitive with what some things he said. He didn't just outright blast some things. I thought it was kind of careful how he crafted some things. He did like put some info out there, but it
So
wasn't like he didn't
I
just do a tell all, in my opinion.
probably legally couldn't,
Oh
most
yeah,
likely buried by lots of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, but I'm just gonna highlight some stuff that he talked about. So basically, in terms of standards, he basically just recited told the company line. These are the public standards. These are the exact same standards that you need to follow. One thing that as you would probably expect and probably would want, um, the vintage graders and the modern graders, basically two separate entities. You have vintage cards, vintage graders who are the more traditional, more experienced graders. Then you have the modern guys, kind of like separate. So when you send in
Yeah.
vintage cards, it'll go to the vintage graders. You send in a modern card, it goes to the modern graders.
But that
Um,
may not apply for, like, Pokemon though, right? Because vintage, like, a lot of times when PSA thinks about vintage, that's like 1950s, 60s, 70s. That's not like Pokemon, like, they may consider 90s to be modern, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where that split is, so
that's
did
true. That's
did he
true.
clarify that at all,
No, he
or
did not. You're also true. That's actually in. I think like when you send cards in for grading, because I grade cards now, Zach. What a world we live in.
this is weird, this is
It's
very
weird. I
you're
think
one
they
of us.
separate like I think they separate modern like 1980 is the line of demarcation. So you could be right there. All Pokemon is
Yeah.
considered modern. Anyways, don't know. But he basically said that like as a grader, he was expected to grade about 5 to 700 cards in an 8 hour shift. If you break it down, that's about 20 to 30 seconds a card you get to look at. Thoughts? Thoughts?
It's crazy. I will say that there are some modern cards that I could look at really quickly and grade in probably 5 seconds, you feel good about. But, like, man, if you had a card that's like a 5 or a 6, like, that'd be hard to do. Like, I think it'd be hard to be like, "Is this a 4, 5, or 6?" Like, no wonder it's, like, inconsistent, no wonder it's subjective, and then, like, with modern, it's like, when I look at something, I'm like, "Alright, centering, edges, corners," that's a lot to look at, and then, like, your mind is working the whole time too. It's like, sometimes during the day, like, you have a normal job, you're kind of some dead space, you kinda have this and that, you're in a meeting, you're listening. If you're, like, proactively just, just you like, you got your mind just twerking the whole time. It's like, that's hard to do, man.
Mhm.
That's a lot of mental, like, just bandwidth.
It's a lot of mental bandwidth. So he also mentioned that PSA they did track internal accuracy for all their graders. How they track it was not provided. You would be disciplined if you were not grading fast enough. How you're disciplined was not mentioned. Um, you do not have specific quotas for a certain amount of grades. So you're not expected to give a certain amount of nines. You weren't supposed to, were expected to give a certain amount of tens, stuff like that. Obviously, with the PSA buyback issues that we're having, that we talked about in a prior episode, um, if you give too many nines, PSA will feel like, and you make a big stink about it enough that maybe they will go back and give you some tens. They also one thing they mentioned that they do not, as graders, they do not know the owners of the cards. So just to remove any bias, like this card is owned by Logan Paul, or this
Yeah.
was in the Logan Paul break, or this one is not owned by John Hamm, whatever celebrity you want to talk about. So I just what are your thoughts on those things that they mentioned?
Well, I think that the, not knowing the owner has always been kind of widely understood, and that's what they've always said. Having a grader tell me actually makes me feel a little bit better about it because, like, there has to be some sort of piece of paper or form or something that goes with the cards. Maybe it's the order number or, keeping it blind. But yeah, every time, like, I would get cards back, you would have the your submission form kind of it'd be folded up in like a little 16th little packet. And it's like, to me, it's like, wouldn't that have to like travel with the cards the whole way through? Otherwise, there's no way PSA would be able to figure out how to link that back or this or that. So in my mind, I'm like, well, it's got my name on there the whole time. Like, wouldn't they be able to just pull out the form and see, Zach Browning on this submission? Like, I don't know. So knowing that the graders don't know the people is actually reassuring because I always assumed that might be kind of tough. The grader doesn't know is very reassuring. 700 cards in an 8 hour shift sounds crazy. I thought it was 400 or 500, but going up 700 sounds utterly insane. Of course, people will crack cards in the back again. There's no way you can be consistent with that level of speed.
Please submit again. Please submit
Crazy.
again. I would love to know. I know that unless PSA started tracking hollow patterns, what percentage of PSA submissions are just resubmissions? I would love to know.
I mean, for that Logan Paul Illustrator, 80% was a resub.
That's a separate episode that we have already talked about, Zach. We don't need to go back in there. If you want to watch that episode, they can find that in the archives. So, yeah, I think like just a summary of that episode, that Confessions of a PSA Grader. Well done. Interviewer kind of asked like the same questions multiple time. But it was very, I don't know. It was, you didn't get the true confessions that you were kind of the secret sauce that you were hoping for, but you did get some little bit of tidbits here and there. It was still interesting to watch. I'll link to the video into the description if you haven't already seen it. All right, so new year. Let's talk about some market trends. Lots of stuff has happened. Lots of stuff has surfaced. Zach, what's the most expensive time that you've had in a hotel room?
The most expensive time I've had in a hotel room? Oh, man, it's what kind of question is that? This is crazy.
That's a crazy question. Well, what if I would have told you back in the day in a hotel room, you would have found somewhere before the release of E Series a bunch of sample e cards that were never released, that basically were first seen in a hotel room, by which I am talking about the e cards that one e card has surfaced today, as of late on Fanatics. That is a Beckett 6 Pikachu, Sugimori art, E series, border, never released at all,
Mhm,
ever. All Japanese text on the front, except for in English, it says sample in the bottom right hand corner. Japanese back. Never surfaced before. So first off, Zach,
mhm.
give me the background of this card, and why was it only in a hotel room, and what other copies exist, provenance, the Pichus, a bunch of other stuff happening with this card and the cards that went along with it.
I think I mean, it's really cool the card exists, like where it came from, the source, this or that. I mean, there's been glimpses online, little pictures here and there. And I told Fanatics, I was like, if you guys ever get this card, let me know. I'd love to pick it up. And of course, you get the phone call and they say the owner wants $1 million. You're like, no way that's happening. If pre-release Raichu is 600K, there's no way this card is anywhere close to that. And so it's just, the guy's got a cool card. He's gonna hold on to it for a long time. It'll be in his collection. Then either he'll pass away, then his children will actually sell for a reasonable price, or maybe he'll come to his senses and sell it. So, it's like it's the issue that not every card out there is like the coolest one-on-one card that exists. So it is interesting though.
So
I think it's
what is this card? We need to give the people background history of this card.
it's just it's a sample card that surfaced different, unique Pikachu art. Yeah, I mean, he got a 6. So I think there's multiple cards too. There's a couple of different cards out there that I think are pretty interesting as well. But like it's very obscure where it came from. I don't know the source of it. I don't know who owns it today. Um, it feels real and authentic. I'd probably want it not in a Beckett case. I'd probably want it either in a CGC case or a PSA case. I'd feel really good if it was in a PSA case, but at the same time, it's like the card exists
The card
now.
exists. It's the proper condition for the card. It should not be a it should not be a mint copy.
Does it
from-
have printer dots on it? That'd be another question I have. Like,
It's
uh,
cool. It's a part
yeah,
of history. I know you're a Pokemon history buff. I know
I
you're
love
not
it.
you're not a Pokemon history buff at $1 million for it. But it's a nice little snapshot of the transition of between WotC, Nintendo, and like the E series. E series is just kind of
Mhm.
is E series. It's so recognizable. Everyone knows E series. It's kind of cool. And the art was never printed on an actual E series card. I thought it's cool. I thought you'd be more excited.
No, it's very cool, but like when it comes to these obscure, weird, rare promos, like I'm very hesitant now because it could be zero, it could be a fake, it could be a fraud, it could be the wrong card. Now this art exists online. Like finding the art and recreating it would not be very difficult to do. So getting authenticated, I think, is great. But also, of all the grading companies, who does not have a financial guarantee? Beckett. Beckett's the one company that does not have a financial guarantee on what they grade. So, I would be very, very hesitant. I mean, with a car like this, how cool it is, and kind of all the other comps, like I would put it between like 5 and 25K. I would not put it, Like, it's too risky. It's way too risky, and if I bought the card, it'd be like a PC purchase. This would not be a card I would resell, like, whatsoever.
Hmm.
Just given the risk and this and that, it's like, you hate to find out if this is another one of those photocopied junk cards.
All
So
right.
it's
So
just
okay, okay, fine. All right.
you gotta understand, you get put through the ringer, and it's like, you just don't wanna deal with it anymore.
All right. So another obscure card. We're talking about the fall of the protozoites, Zach. I remember when we talked about the protozoites, you kind of gave me like the background information a couple of years ago. You're like, would you like this card's cool, has cool history, and I remember you saying like, would your opinions of the card if you knew like there were like another 100 copies out there? And my answer to you was, yeah, probably, probably would my opinions of the card probably change. So
Yeah.
we're talking about exact same copy, CGC, because it's not PSA, no financial guarantee. The exact card sold in 2021 for 260 grand. And then the exact same copy, same certification, same case, recently sold in December as the year rang out. Dude, bloodbath, just short of 40K. I don't know about much about business, Zach, but something tells me that is not generally what you want to do in the business.
So I was bidding this card up. I probably bid it up to, like, 32, 33K. Then I stopped bidding, so, I don't know if I was the 3rd highest bidder, or I definitely wasn't the 2nd highest bidder, but, someone else ended up bidding it up after me to 39.6K. So I did not win the card, obviously, but, again, I still like the card. I think it's kinda cool, and getting it for 40 is, like, not bad. I mean, I had a deal for this exact card in 2020 for, 20K, and so seeing it double over 5 years, like, I mean, it's kind of like a average return. What do you think about 7 years? Normally double your money. So I like the card. I think it's part of Pokemon history. The fact that you haven't seen other like Charizard prototype surface and other things. I mean, like, yeah, that one Pikachu just surface we talked about. But again, this is like predating English. So I'm still bullish on the card. I like it. 40K is a massive drop. Really sucks for that owner before.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure if he bought a 200K, he's not hurting too bad. Next card, dude, I did not. Next card, this is crazy sale. WB Creator Pikachu Pop 12 card sold on eBay, the 64.5K, which is a crazy price, but it's actually not that crazy because the exact copy sold it earlier in October for 50K. So that's a quick $14,500 flip in a couple months. Pretty good if you're a flipper. Um, Tell me about the WB Creator Pikachu's and the set that it came in. Why is this card so hard to grade? That there's only 12 of them.
The low pop Pikachu, the packaging and stuff makes it very difficult with the corners, the edges, this and that. And so not that many were produced, 5,250 packs, 250 packs were produced. And so it kind of hits one of those things where it's like, it's a rare Pikachu, it's low pop. It hasn't graded that well. But again, to me, this feels like some of the Instagram influencers, just some of the flippers and stuff that are going. And like, while this is a really strong sale, it does feel like who's going to get caught holding the bag type card. And so it's like, you see these guys like selling these 40K, 50K 80K cards like left and right. And it's like they're all making 5, 10, 20K each every time they flip. And it's like these cards were never like that valuable in the past. And so when I see this, I feel like it's going to get sold again for 70, 80K in the near future. And you get these guys making these little jumps. And so I think it's going to be one of these cards that I think it'll be available again at some point in the future for a much lower price. But it's a who's going to get caught holding the bag type card. And I don't know, it feels like a social media sort of pump sort of vibe.
Visually, it's an illustration card contest card, so it was drawn by not a professional artist.
Yeah.
So the illustration contest happened between February to April 2005. It is English exclusive. That does have it going for it. It was never printed in Japanese. If that is something that you're in, it came up in a pack with like a bunch of other winners of the illustration contest. I know there's the Torchic. I like the Torchic arc. The Torchic arc is kind of cute. We had the Trico. You had the Mudkip. Um, yeah, it just popped out to me because visually appealing it doesn't have visual appeal to me.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's scarcity with it being only a pop 12 card, so it's quote unquote rare in that grade. It's just I would not spend $50,000 on that card. There's so many other cards I would have or would rather have for $50,000. Yeah, that's just me.
Like, to buy a car for 50K and sell it shortly thereafter for an extra, 15, just I don't think the owner was a collector, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The owner wasn't, it's just someone who sees a rare car, they make a market, they resell, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. So we do like Charizards, right? You like Charizards.
It's a
Do you
good
like
card.
first edition base Charizards?
It's a nice card, it's pretty rare, kinda hard to
It's
find.
kinda hard to find. So we had we talked you mentioned before private sales around the $500,000 mark. Um Heritage finished the sale with buyer's premium finished off at 550K. We talked about it in the Logan Paul episode that their Charizard's going for like private offers going for like 700K now. But it's nice to see an actual public sale via Heritage. Um, what's the future of Charizard? Where do you see it going?
It's still going up, I mean, the upcoming golden auction has one of Charizard in there, and I think that's gonna break another record, going even higher. Private offers are still 500K plus for any copy, which makes no sense at all. So again, you have you have this vintage sort of push, and you get a lot of the chase cards for a lot of vintage cards that are still shooting up, that are still like growing at rapid pace, which I think a lot of it's should have happened like years and years ago. But Charizard's going to keep going. It is the blue chip of the hobby. I think it's a pretty poor investment decision at this rate because it's like, is Charizard ever going to be $1 million card? Yes, of course. I think it'll be $1 million card within the next 10, 20 years. But like the rate of return, I think is going to be pretty slow for everything else. So um, it's Charizard. Charizard will always hold.
And remember when Charizard was at 175? Like the bottom barrel price was a Charizard was 175K. And they were like popping off, be it probably the same ones exchanging, going back and forth. But like, man,
Crazy.
it's crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, so Zach, I'm in the process of buying some modern stuff, man. I know you think I'm crazy for doing it,
You are
but
crazy.
I am crazy, especially with this news. So, Millennium Print Group, new office building,
Hmm.
1.27 million square foot factory opening up in North Carolina. Yeah.
Massive. We knew it was
Massive.
coming. We knew it was coming. Pokemon had to solve their issues. You can't have product on the shelf. I mean, they raised their prices, 159 MSRP. They still can't meet demand. Pokemon will meet demand. Like if there's money to be made, like the money will be made. And so I worry in a future where, all of a sudden some people leave. Let's say 30% of the people leave the hobby, they print to demand, and then 30% leave. It's like you'll start seeing boxes, at 90, maybe $120 again. It's hard to understand. I had someone tell me the other day, it's like, well, if demand is 10x supply, you could double supply and you still are, way out demand. It's like, yeah, it's true, but it's like they're going to print and print and print until they can get this stuff on shelves. And all it takes is one bad set. People forget battle styles, and they forget Steam Siege. They forget the sets that just suck that no one wants. And
All
it's like,
Sun era.
yeah, I mean, you forget it, and so, it's
Oh,
like you have a hot set that's crazy, then the orders are out the wazoo, and all of a sudden everyone gets a set that no one wants because the art sucks or it's not playable or whatever it might be. It takes one bad set, and then it's like a third of the card shops go out of business because they can't meet their financial obligations.
so
So
the setup for this factory is not expected to be completed until 2027. So we won't see the ripple effects of this new factory probably until 2028. Takes about a year before things get up and going. So you just kind of want to talk about the future of modern. But a lot of stuff that like we are seeing now, probably like the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, they'll be out of print by then. given the 2-year cycle of sets. So the beginning of Scarlet and Violet probably safer holds, safer investment. Um, Chance Destined Rivals around that era will get reprinted by this new factory. Not 100% sure. But yeah,
No way,
modern.
no way. It's gonna be cycled out.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh yeah, I mean 2027 they're gonna start printing for stuff in 2028. I mean there's they're gonna print what's in play. Pokemon's main focus is the players, not the collectors. And so like if people can't get the cards they need for their decks, that's when they're gonna reprint. Now I would love to see the world burn and like have them go back and print tag team. Like I would like love I think that would just crush the hobby and it would kill all confidence and people would just start dumping Pokemon left and right. Because I don't think people understand like how much that stuff still exists. Like there's so much modern inventory just sitting in warehouses and offices and closets. And it's like, you go on eBay and you're like, oh, there's only like 100 boxes of that. It's like, well, there's probably 100,000 boxes of that sitting in a closet somewhere. If someone who's making this long term Rudy play, it just if the world were to come to a spot where people need cash and it all just hits the market at once, I just think you'd see a massive just change in pricing.
Yeah, be
But
interesting to see. Uh, Pokemon will print to the moon because it's anytime people are not ripping packs, they're losing money, and they want people ripping pack as quickly as
yeah.
possible. People ripping for 450 a pack.
Yeah, and that would be very bad for the hobby, by the way. It would crush confidence. It would be a bad scenario altogether, but it would shift the hobby to more of like the purists. Like, are you collecting because you love it and you want this and that? Or are you collecting as an investor to, retire and stonk or whatever? So, I would just love to see more purity back in the hobby. I think we lack a lot of it today, and um, I think a lot of the motives are very different than what they used to be. So, I don't know. I think very few people have gotten hit and gotten taken down the wrong road. So I'm not saying I'm rooting for that, but I'm just saying that like it'd be a breath of fresh air to see people collect because they love Pokemon and not collect because the numbers make sense.
Well, maybe they'll just start buying vintage, like they did at the end of 2025, and they.
So I think the people that collect because the numbers make sense, people that collect because the math and investing, I think those people take advantage of the people who collect because they love Pokemon.
All right, so I'm calling it the great vintage buyer of 2025 because November, October last year, we saw a huge buyout in first edition cards,
Oh
first
yeah.
edition WotC cards, just because people find places to kind of park their money. One of them was we don't like know the exact print numbers of WotC. We can kind of hypothesize, but it's nowhere near what Modern's pumping out these days. So people, it just makes scarcity is a factor when we talk about prices and things. So we saw people buying out a whole bunch of different first edition cards from the WotC era, driving up cards from 50 cents to all the way up to like $10 a card. Um, don't jump in now. It's happened already. It's too late to jump in now. To the great vintage buyout. Opinions, Zach. Opinions on people buying out vintage cards.
I mean, I think it's long overdue. I mean, I think people haven't really given vintage the respect and stuff. And you have all this money in modern, yet it doesn't flow to vintage. I think it always was going to. And when we look at the pops, it's like sometimes for modern, it's like, oh, this card's popped 20,000. It's like, where are they? Like, who are the 20 people with 1,000 each? So it's not one person with 20,000. It's like, where are these cards? And vintage, pops like 50 or pop and then the nines might be 500. It's like that's so much easier to like understand and consume. And so it's like I'm just surprised that vintage is still as available as it is, given the population and stuff. And it would be very hard to build a position in vintage today, um, given just how little of it is out there compared to modern. So it's cool to see. It's nice to see people are kind of going that route, but I think it's gone up a little too fast. I kind of disagree with the speed. I'd like to see a little bit slower, steady growth. Maybe it's catching up for all the other stuff that's gone up. But at the same time, like when things grow too fast, usually there's opportunity. I think there's opportunity for vintage to come back down at some point because the growth has been like just it doesn't. it's too quick. Not everyone in the hobby participates every day like we do. And there's a lot of people that participate once a month, once every 6 months, once a year. If those people were aware of the prices, I'm sure there's some people who have vintage cards that would happily sell at today's prices.
Yeah. Also, like fundamentally, it makes sense in your head. WotC, low printed, first edition stamp, but scarcity is just like one factor when you
Yeah.
talk about the price of things. And modern like pretty much like slaps that theory in the face. You have like people paying $500 plus cards for 20,000 pop PSA 10 pop cards. If you would have told me back in like t- 10 years ago, people were doing that, you and me would be like, these people are insane. These people are crazy. But the way that cards are now, people love the art. People, you grow up, believe it or not, there will be people who will value 151 over base set just because they grew up with 151. In 10 years' time, people like the feels that we have for original base set, first base, people are going to have those exact same feels for 151. And this, the market's just big enough to absorb those cards.
I can't wait to meet the Battle Styles collector, the Steam Siege collector. Like, yeah, Steam Siege is so nostalgic. That's like the set I started with. And I just, everything was so much better after that. It's like, it only went up. It got better and better. So,
I
um,
do like the battle styles Tyranitar. That's a cool card.
that's nice. He's munching, eating, fat T-tar. It's kind of nice.
He's like passed out comatose, like drool hanging from his mouth. I don't know. It's a very whimsical card. Whimsical card. I like that one.
Yeah. The hobby's an interesting place, man. It's there's so many things happen, it's so much bigger. It used to be like everyone wheeling and dealing, and anyone who bought a card, it's like we all just knew each other because it's like the market was so small, and now it's so much bigger, and there's so many different people, different motives, and it's just way harder to understand. I mean, you literally have pump and dump groups on Discords and stuff now. Oh, hey, the Sam's Club has new restock. It's online. There's so many different like avenues of hobby, and I do think as an ecosystem, it flows very nicely. And I think that even the parties that maybe I'm not as fond of, I think they're important to the hobby to provide liquidity for a lot of different places. But I think the people you interact with kind of help define your experience and your journey in the hobby. And so I just try to. I really wish I could limit my interactions to just the people who I feel like we're the same mindset, same goals. But at the same time, it's hard, especially when you're in the business of the hobby. You kind of tend to interact with everyone. So, uh,
Hmm. The issue also with like the abundance of the population because cards are so readily available. I'm in the process of buying modern for my personal collection, Zach. There's a lot
what statement is that? Like, I want you to say that again. Like, I'm buying modern personal collection.
personal collection. Well, I need a couple cards for my daughter for her time capsule.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So there's a lot of eBay shilling nonsense going on right now. And I don't know if this is like it's just always been there, or maybe like the whole probe scene thing has just made shilling acceptable now. Or people are just trying to shill to maintain their own prices. I'm gonna give you like some cards who are like the greatest offenders for shilling right now. I'm gonna list them off for you. Number one, Prismatic Umbreon.
Okay, that makes sense.
Really bad. Real bad. Paldean Fates, Bubble Mew. Real bad. Real bad. Surging Sparks Pikachu. Also very bad. Those three cards,
For once.
the most popular ones, you just go to the bid history. You have bid histories of accounts with 1-0 feedback. And then the auction ends for what the market price is, instantly relisted. Instantly relisted. Same cert, relisted again. I was following a Prismatic Umbreon. The seller publicly posted on the page that he has tried to sell this card 3 times now. 3 separate times is not paid for. Um, yeah, it just modern is fun. Modern is great. If you're buying for yourself and you enjoy the card, that's always great. I always caution people just especially with modern, man. We were saying this for like first edition base jungle fossil that there will always be another card. And we're talking about like pop 60 cards at that time. We were just telling, I can wait on that. There'll be another one. You have like 20 pop 15 to 20,000 cards. There will be another one. There will be another one.
Oh,
You can
definitely.
you can wait on it, set the price you want to pay, and just stick to that. Don't go crazy. Don't bid a couple $100 extra just because this is my last chance to get one. Market's in dip right now. It's going to shoot up next week, and then I'm going to pay more. Uh, there will always be another card, people. And for those people who are shilling to maintain prices, I don't like you. Yeah, it's just go away. Go away.
Well,
Go buy sneakers. Go buy One Piece. Leave Pokemon alone.
the thing is, the economic conditions for auction cards right now is better than it's ever been. So, like there are sometimes in the hobby that listing high buy now prices, like people buy, is great. But auction cards in today's environment is the way to achieve the highest price. You can push the market up, market can grow, and you can maybe set a record, this and that. Otherwise, to avoid what that guy went through, a high buy now price, or you require immediate payment, and then if the card's over 250, 300, it goes to Santa Ana, California. It gets authenticated, and so it's like the guy can't return it even if they wanted to. It's just you can always do buy nows if you get put in a pickle where they have to pay before they can even close the listing. There's
So
someone
yeah,
who's maybe going through that, little advice.
yeah, yeah. Just relax, people, and don't get trapped in chill bidding and paying more than you have to. All right, that's my advice for everyone. Okay, Zach. So main topic. This news broke. We kind of wanted to talk about it as it broke a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
but not really much. The issue with that is like not much information surfaced out of that afterwards. It's just kind of like, oh, this happened. Like no details. I am talking, of course, that PSA, the parent company of PSA collectors, have purchased Beckett, direct rival, direct competitor, not nearly as not nearly big of the market share as it probably should have if they would have evolved during the times. Zach has personally said that they prefer things in paper. Surprised that they even had a computer. So I just want to give your personal thoughts first off on what's your thoughts on PSA or collectors buying Beckett.
Yeah, I mean, the news broke and it was like the hottest thing on online. Everyone and their mother had posted it within 10 minutes or an hour. And so it's like, you want to like go beyond like the actual thought. Like, okay, they bought Beckett. What does it actually mean? Not that the news broke. So it's like you want to take it sort of beyond just a face value. And so to me, it's crazy that they can like, buy it. It's like it's a monopoly basically. And if you go back 10 years, PSA and Beckett are the only two that exist. They are the only ones, and everyone else is like take home grading, grade yourself, print your own labels. Here's a plastic case, which I've actually tried as a grading company before. It's crazy. I didn't. They sent me cases like, oh, I got to do it myself. It's like Beckett was more respected in a bigger company than PSA. At one point they were the preferred grading company by Magic vendors. There's a lot of sports cards that were preferred by Beckett. They were considered to have higher integrity and more consistent grading. And the Black Label and the BGS 10 was the end all be all. It was better than PSA 10. It still is to a lot of people. And so the fact that PSA can buy them because Beckett has been trying to sell themselves for years, and their owner got into some trouble, and they kind of got bailed out a year ago, and the fact that the transaction actually went through, I think it's insane that one can go through. There was a congressman that stepped out and said, "Hey, like this shouldn't happen. This is too much of a monopoly, and it's under the collector's umbrella." So they said that they're going to keep them independent, this and that. But really, PSA is doing it is to safeguard their competition. They don't want the extra competition, and Beckett really just needs new management. They need to rehaul of all their IT systems. I think that they still could like go up. They still could grow market share. They still could end up being one of the top two, if not three, grading companies out there. They've had really, really poor leadership for a long time. And their Pokemon programs turned around, I'd say, in the last 3 years. There's been a lot of like positivity, a lot more social media, a lot more people really pushing it in the way it should. But to me, it just feels like a little too late. And I can't believe it's legally going through. I think PSA is going to let it die. I think they're just going to let it sit there, and maybe it'd be really weird for PSA to spin it off, resell it. I mean, PSA is obviously going to try to go public or be acquired by someone, purely from the fact that they're owned by private equity. Like private equity does not hold things forever. So at some point, PSA is going to do something. I just I don't know. It's really really weird that one was allowed to go through, and two that people just are like, okay, cool. I really like the fact that Tag and CDC had their responses that they did. They basically all came out. Even AGS, had a response and came out and said, hey, like BSA's doing this. We're the go-to grading company now. We stand by these values, different this and that. So I think CDC is going to be the clear cut number two. I think Tag and AGS are gonna, fight it out for 3 and 4. And you have Randolph's grading company, Ace Grading. That's he said he graded tens of thousands of cards in December, and that's really the top five right there, which is kind of crazy. So I think it comes down to PSA, Tag, CDC. Beckett, I think, is going to keep slowing the growth. There's no way PSA puts money into it or supports it. That'd be just the wrong decision when you're trying to sell, PSA, and maybe they try to sell collectors as a whole. Maybe that's the goal. You sell the whole thing to someone. But even then, it's like I don't know. I think the collectibles industry is going to skyrocket over the next 10, 20 years. I think alternative assets are still widely underappreciated. I think there's going to be a couple major corrections as we grow. But no, it just blows my mind. Really blows my mind.
Yeah, another under the radar purchase. PSA bought collectors bought CGC as well.
SGC.
The SGC, yeah, and then it is basically just a monopoly.
Yeah, which SGC makes sense because PSA was considered weak for vintage cards, and SGC is really, really strong for vintage sports cards. So it's like SGC still largely does most of the vintage, and PSA does most of the modern. And vintage is actually really difficult. There's a lot of fakes, a lot of forgeries, a lot of manipulation with card cleaning and stuff with vintage sports. So like that strategically makes sense. This just feels like a bold, we're gonna own we're gonna own the whole space. And PSA is going after Tag, but Tag's got a lot of smart people, and Tag is truly reinventing the hobby. And I think Tag's gonna remain independent purely because they've got a strong team, strong backing. CDC's got BlackRock or Blackstone. I always forget which one it is, and they're a massive company, and they've really grown. And I can see CDC being 50-50 with PSA when it comes to modern Pokemon grading. I mean, CC keeps raising their prices, but so does PSA. It's like at some point, it's like you can't grade a PSA card under $50. You literally just you're either losing money and you don't care, or it just doesn't make sense. And CDC there's so many cool cards that are under $50 that I think are worth putting in a slab that like CDC's just gonna own all of them.
Mhm.
The Radiant Collection, I mean, beautiful cards. They're literally $20, $25 cards in a slab. You can get them graded with CDC and make $1, $2 or whatever. And I would love to have the whole set graded. I think it's cool display. But like if you put that in PSA, you're literally losing money on every card you grade,
There's
even
pros and
even
cons
for
to
all tens.
there's pros and cons to each grading service. Obviously, CGC doesn't have their upcharge fees. Like if your card gets grade high and then you can sell it for a premium on PSA, you actually get charged an upcharge. At the same time, PSA is the only company that I am aware of right now that offers the financial guarantees of their cards. That's not offered by Tag. That's not offered by CGC.
Well,
Um,
CC offers some, it's just limited.
it's very limited. There's pros and cons to each. It just PSA just remains the most liquid of all the slabs. It's easier to move PSA slabs. It's more universally recognized. I was actually dabbling in the idea of buying some tag cards the other day. I think it's just your influence, Zach. You just keep telling me how amazing tag is, and
I like Tag, man.
I
I
like their
like them.
holder. I like their holder. That's the biggest thing I like about about them is that I love how clean their holder is. Um, so I was actually kind of contemplating. I was like, I'm in the process of buying stuff for myself as well as usually when I buy stuff for myself, I buy some extra copies just to sell. Rules of three. I was thinking of buying a tag 10 card for myself, and the other two cards I was thinking of buying PSA. This might be slightly tainted just because of the whole PSA within the last year, the buyback program, online vitriol against PSA
Mhm.
slowly influencing my purchasing power, purchasing opinions. And if it's happening to me, it's probably not. It's probably happening to other people as well. What I would love to see once the system is fully flushed out, I would
Mm.
love to see tag grading booths in stores. I would love to see that. You literally plop your card in, machine does its work, all the AI scanning, slabs it, seals it, get it right out of your hand, right into your hands right away. Man, if that ever happened, I think that's the biggest game changer. If Tag can figure out the system to get in store grading, we're talking like a revelation.
So here's the thing: is the way it was pitched to me. When Tag does their grading, it's like all these different lights and all these different things that all go around the card, and it's kind of surreal to see all the different motions and stuff that happens. Is then the grade before it's encapsulated, and Tag. The way it was pitched to me is that Tag would say, "Hey, this is going to be a Tag 8. It's not worth putting in the case. Would you like the card back raw?" Or, "Oh, hey, this is a Tag 9. It's actually worth encapsulating and moving forward because the market value after grading is worth more in a case." And so it's like, I love the fact that if I was in a sports card shop and I rip a box of, Panini 101 or basketball or something, and I pull some big card and I could get it graded right there. And it's like maybe you pull a $10,000 card and you want to put it in a case right there. And it takes 5 minutes to grade and encapsulate. I think that'd be insane. I wouldn't want to use it for bulk. I'd probably send off the bulk and let someone else deal with the card by card or this and that. But like for the big cards, the big hits, like if you get a shop and you can authenticate it right there, and all of a sudden that asset has a certification number, which is really what you need to legitimize something for sale online. The whole purpose of grading companies is to be that independent third party to allow the exchange for two unknown individuals to go back and forth to each other. And so to do that in shops, I think is so cool. But I think it would be more used for the bigger cards and not like the bulk submitters.
The issue is that there's just so much nuances to grading across different hobbies, across sports, across Pokemon. It's you need that knowledge of
The tech,
the
it's the
tech.
tech.
You need the
They got
tech,
the tech.
and we're not there yet. We're not there yet for the tech. Could be a couple more years, but yeah, I'm with you. I would love to see an automatic grading machine in stores. That'd be huge. All right, so let's jump into my favorite section of the podcast, Collector's Corner. I'm gonna let Zach go first because I think I went first last time. I'm not sure,
You
but
go first. I told you had a banger this week, though.
uh,
I've got the Grail. I've got a big one.
okay,
I
show me
don't
what
think
you
I've
got.
shown this yet.
Okay.
I really don't think I've shown this yet. This is a Ken Sugimori signed Pikachu, Sabrina's Gengar. So
Ooh.
this is a beautiful card with a Pikachu sketch on there. This is a trade I did back at Legends Expo with a buddy of mine that I met for the very first time, and I traded him a really, really big card, and he included this and like 5 or 6 other items in the deal. And this I thought this is the biggest item, but I thought it was so, so cool. It's unlimited, but I can live with it. It's
I can
Mori.
live with I can live with
Yeah,
this.
Pikachu.
Why
Huge,
why did you
huge.
get a first edition one? Why didn't you bring a first edition? Well, why didn't he bring a first edition one? I mean, so much cooler.
He wasn't the original signer, the guy that got signed.
Oh,
So
I see.
that style, that pen is from one of Ken Sugimori's first signing events ever in the US. And so that's a really cool
That's why it's thinner than what you're used to seeing.
yeah, yeah, thin pen. That's what he used at that event. So
Mhm.
I have a trainer that gave him a champ as well, signed by Sugimori that has a similar pen style.
You got any swirls in there?
I
Yep.
got some orbs. I got some big old
I see
orbs.
yours, but you got any cheeky swirls?
I'm sure we can manufacture one
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's
We can probably
fun.
find one in there.
Yeah. Alright, so my card of the week, uh, we talk about I like Destined Rivals. I like a lot of cards from that set. So I decided to bring in some OG Destined Rivals. OG, OG, OG.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So we have, first off, the first edition
Ooh,
Dragonite.
there you
Uh,
go. That's a cool card.
and this one actually has some cheeky swirls. I don't know if you can if I can catch it.
It's a
There's
nice
one
old
by the
sword.
wing, and there's actually one down here. I don't know if I can catch it. So there's like double swirl action.
Very
Love this
nice.
card. I know you probably do you still have the no hollow one?
Of course,
of
yeah.
course. So OG, and
I
then
don't
we
sell
had
my DC.
then we had the second iteration right here. We have the second iteration, Dark Dragonite
Very nice card.
from EX Team Rocket Returns. Everything just comes full circle, man. It's like it's like movies. There's just you just A Star Is Born has been made like 4 or 5 times. Dust Rivals is just the third coming of a Team Rocket set. Very popular modern day car set. All right, so that's Collector's Corner. Let's finish off the podcast. We got some more questions that are not all from Steve Vikatsuin, so that's fun. So let's move on to our view questions. The first one coming for Pokeballs. We've seen Modern finally correcting and retracing as it was overdue. Do you see that happening with Vintage anytime soon? Vintage is just next 2 months. Vintage is gonna go crazy. So it's not gonna happen in the short term. Obviously, Zach mentioned long term. Once we get like our crazy sales, then we'll have a retrace. But the retrace will still be above what market prices are now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we answered earlier. I think vintage is going to keep going the next 3 or 4 months. It's going really really strong, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Usually, for things that have a significant change, it requires some sort of catalyst. So, like that could be like a major world event. That could be, Bitcoin changing. It could be. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. But like until you see that catalyst, I mean, I think vintage is going to continue. Then it'll slowly change. But like, there's so much money still flowing in the hobby. Like, it's going to be good for a little bit.
Hmm. Next question for Pokeballs. Do you see gold stars as overpriced right now or finally fairly valued? Well, I'd have to say that Gold Star dogs are grossly overpriced based on our history of the knowledge, but I think it just comes from try people outside investors coming into the hobby without having fundamental knowledge of the hobby, which is kind of driving those prices up right now. So you'll see a retrace on the dogs. Uh, um, it just does not make any sense why English dogs are more expensive than the first edition Japanese variant, just because they were stolen off the line. There's just like a ton of like pretty minty copies available right now, and they were probably all bought by the same person, most likely at some point. So they're literally just sitting on. It's like the protozoites. There's probably a lot more out there than you think. Well, it's not in what you think. We know there's a lot more out there right now. So I'll let Zach talk about the other gold stars because that's not my jam and my era. But Zach was really deep into the gold star hype and kind of he owns
Mhm.
a lot of the high end Japanese English gold stars. What are your thoughts on the current price of gold stars?
I mean, I think they shot up really fast. I think some of the prices are a little unsustainable. I mean, you're seeing some cards retrace, like Charizard. Had a massive like 50K retrace. There was an auction in the mid 50s or so, but it's being quoted publicly at like over 100. I think the Pikachu is in the mid 50s or so, and so you're seeing people like sustain the price, but it's like a far and few between, and so you're not seeing like 20 or 30 people after these. And like the pops these are all very low, like under 100 for most of them. And so I think it grew way too fast. And the people who have got their gains, it feels great. But there are also a lot of people who have a lot of these cards and they still see that those dollars is, if this card's 100K, then to them it's a 100K item. And when they go to sell it, I think you're going to see like multiple people will probably try to sell at the same time. And it's hard to it's hard to see these things retrace when you're a holder of them. It's difficult to go through that painful process of realizing that hey, these things did grow too fast. Gold stars are some of the rarest items in the hobby, widely underappreciated for a long time. Ray has always sort of been above what you'd consider to be like a good comparable, like fair market. When you try to link everything together, Ray is probably 225, 240 today. Really strong. If Zard hits $1 million, that Ray's going to feel underpriced. It's going to feel really weird, just when you try to relate everything together. But I do think that gold stars are gonna come back a little. Although most people holding them or chasing them probably would disagree. Um,
I That is my number one regret that I didn't pick up. I regret that I never picked up a gold star Charizard. I
mhm.
really wish I would have I had funds at the time. I had the funds. I just thought it was too expensive at the time. I really wish because I love that card so much. I've never owned
Mhm.
any copy of it, even in a lower grade. but like because I just couldn't get there. But I really wish I would have picked up a Gold Star Charizard at some point.
Nice card.
It's a beautiful card. It's like it was my top card for top Charizard arts, and the fact that I never got it, it kind of it kills me a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. Can't own everything.
I mean, I think Gold Star Zard and Ray should be a lot closer together in price, and Ray feels good in the high twos, and Zard doesn't feel. I mean, maybe Zard should be. It's really weird to talk. I don't want to guess prices, but it's like everything's relate. It all relates to each other. So
Mhm.
um, I don't know. Gold Stars like went up like they 10-20x. As that's just that's a big jump. It's really hard for the whole market to price that in.
All right. So last question for Pokeballs. For each you, what is your favorite artist in the Pokemon TCG?
For each year,
Let's just say you choose one artist right now that you're really
I mean, I
into.
love I love Camilla. I mean, if Minnow did the Jungle Jolteon, I think those are fantastic. There's a couple newer artists that are nice, but I'd probably say head Minnow. I mean, just its classic, her classic styles. It's just so difficult to beat.
Right now, I'm kind of because I'm in modern. I'm really into modern right now. I know I said it before that I don't like some of the artwork from Akira Gawa, but I find that she has really good range of her art style. It's not just like the kind of like the creepy Giratina V stars from the train from the galleries. I love the Mega Latias from Mega Evolution. There's a Gardevoir trainer card that I really enjoy. Um, I actually had I actually like went online to like look at her entire portfolio of all the cards that she's ever done, and like it's like the, usually with like artists like they usually kind of like follow the same trends of like how they draw and how they paint and stuff like that. But I find like she has really good artwork, a good range in her artwork. So you may not necessarily be able to like point out that's an Akira Gawa piece right there.
Mhm.
So yeah, right now in terms of modern Akira Gawa, love Nishida. Nishida's artwork has always been really good. Nishida's also really evolved as well as of late. There's like a modern day Sylveon that she did that I had no idea that she did because it did not look like her artwork. When I think of her artwork, I think of like obviously the E-card Lotozard. We think about the the windowsill the windowsill Mew
Mhm.
in the Japanese promo, stuff like that. Yeah, Nishida, old school Agawa. I told you this before. I'm not a huge you want to find a person who hates Sugimori art. You talk to PFM. PFM hates Sugimori. He just hates Sugimori artwork. That classic artwork. But yeah, it is what it is. But Nishida and Nagawa, my top artists in the TCG.
Nishida's great. I really, really like Nishida as well.
Mhm. All right, so we got our usual couple questions from Steven. Steven's first question is: are world promos going to be forever undervalued, Zach?
Um, I would like to not answer that question.
Okay, all right.
I would like to recuse myself from that question.
Okay, so Zach cannot, without bias, he can't answer the question. I keep waiting. I have world cards. I have worlds cards. I have semifinalist cards. I have NPSA 10. I keep waiting for it to happen. It's same thing with staff cards. I keep expecting something different to happen with staff cards. It hasn't popped. I feel like if it hasn't happened yet, it could change overnight. Um, the thing with staff cards is like, which staff cards as well as worlds cards, you can staff world cards hard to grade, and it's kind of Zach talked about it before. It's very easy to fake a stamp for special when I don't know, when I think of worlds cards, I mostly think of the staff cards that they hand out for the actual workers, not the ones that they give out to the actual players. I think that it's gonna be a while before you see I don't see it popping anytime soon. So I'm gonna say I wouldn't say forever undervalued, but I wouldn't expect anything to go crazy in the next couple of years.
I'm not a buyer. That's sort of my flat
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I buy them because I buy them because I like them. The one staff card, the Worlds card that I like the most, I like the San Francisco one, just because I think it's a really cool card.
Mhm.
Has the original starters on it. That's a really good one. And one I would really want is a PSA 10 copy staff of the one. I forgot what year it was. That was the year that they were in Vancouver, just because I'm Canadian, so I thought it was a nice. And I don't think Pokemon's ever going to come back to Canada again for Worlds. So I would like a PSA 10 copy of that one, but that's just personally me. So once again, just buying what I like. So yeah, those are the two that I like. All right, so I'll let you handle the last question.
Last question from Steven. Are we in a content creation bubble? And since we channel just babble about modern seal investments or on tangents about a 5% move in seal, I tried watching popular channels like Alpha Investments, found nothing of value. Was wondering if I'm the only one that feels that way. Obviously, you guys and catch them all, the OGs. Well, thanks, Steve. That's really nice. People just need content, man. People just craving just little pieces here and there, and like it's so hard when you want to take a long term view on things, just to because you get caught up in the day to day, the news cycle, this and that. It's almost like you just have to disconnect. And so, like, there are people that I enjoy watching, but I watch like 1 in 10 videos or 1 in 50 videos for people that do post quite a bit. I do enjoy watching Rudy Alpha Investments. A lot of times for the life advice and stuff. Rudy was a securities, had a lot of his certifications and stuff, worked as a trader, some other stuff, selling different things. I also have a degree in finance, so like a lot of stuff that he says I can relate to in sort of maybe more real world ways and this and that. And I love hearing his perspective on things. Rudy does have an agenda. Rudy is trying to sell he is trying to sell stuff for himself, and so there's a lot of bias. But if you can clearly see when the bias occurs and versus just the life advice. No, I like hearing his perspective. So to get over the content creation bubble, it tends to blow up quite a bit when the hobby is in a hype cycle, and when the hobby dies down, it tends to slow down quite a bit. If you look at my own YouTube channel, Jim and Pokemon, I tend to not make any content at all when the hobby's in a growth cycle. So 2016, 2018, 2020, I really don't post any videos at all. And the hobby's in a slow cycle. It's generally when I enjoy making content the most, when you don't have a lot of the other content creators, you just hype and investing, this and that. When it does become about purity and collecting and chasing goals and finding friends, going to the hobby conventions, and when it becomes more about just like people who just love Pokemon for Pokemon, that's when I enjoy making content, interacting with the community. When you have a lot of people who are just here for 6 months or a year, they're the people who are supporting these content creators that are doing these little sort of growth things. And I think it's healthy for the overall ecosystem of Pokemon. I think it's good for the overall, sort of growth of the hobby. But in large part, you have to choose who you want to listen to. And there are 1,000 videos every day made about Pokemon, modern investing, collecting everywhere. You have to filter through who you like, and not everyone makes that type of content. And so it's up to you to decide who you consume.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question as a washed up content creator myself.
Tetra is professional. Tetra actually is a content creator. He's someone
So
who supported his family on content.
let me say this: the hardest thing for any content creator is to come up with unique content. It is so hard to make unique content and just constantly churning it, which is why you see like when something becomes popular or becomes more standardized, it just gets replicated by everyone. So when investing videos became very popular, now everyone that's what the hype is. Everyone now and the mothers are making videos with charts, investing advice, retraces, projections. Just because, first off, money is very easy for people to understand. Um, and follow along with how much a value is when you slap a dollar figure to it. That's very easy for people to understand. It's very difficult for you, the content creator, to portray and demonstrate or elicit feelings of a card or a collectible through a camera. You know what I mean? And having it happen in a genuine some sort of way. So money is very easy for people to understand. And eventually, like these creation bubbles, like I'll give you an example. Pat Flynn, he did a series on um, collector's challenges where you needed to complete a master set at a card show, or you would like lose it all. Like great videos, well produced. I watched a couple of them, thoroughly enjoy them, but there's only so many videos of those I can watch. Like I watched like three of them. By the fourth or fifth time, I kind of get the gist of what I'm expecting. So I'm not interested. I'm interested in the first two or three. Four or five, my interest just completely dies off. Once again, it's hard to come up with content that all the time, which is why you have everything replicated. Now we have now like even Pat does a fantastic job with his videos, and like some of his content now is just like him ripping a pack, ripping some product, just because that's very easy to create and people kind of it's very quick, very efficient, not and it's hard to produce content like meaningful content if you're a solo content creator. Is like you like in order for me to like make a video like on like one of Pat's videos where he goes to a card show, if I want to make that, I would want not just like I know he does it with like a solo camera and stuff like that, camera that he wears. I would like want an actual crew, like get different angles, stuff like that. It's hard to make content, which is why we see the same content being created over and over again. And basically you watch it until you're no longer interested in it. It's difficult.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's hard.
Thank you for the questions, man. We appreciate
Uh,
you tuning in.
all righty. And that wraps up this episode of a Happy New Year, Next Gen TCG, big bold predictions, a bunch of other stuff. We're going to hit 2026 hard, Zach, because I just like neither of us make money on this podcast. We don't make money. We just enjoy talking about Pokemon. I love talking about
Yeah,
Pokemon.
baby.
We will continue to talk about Pokemon with you in the next within the next year, and the hobby's gonna be exciting for at least the next 3 months. A lot of big things are happening, and we're gonna be monitoring everything.
Yeah, big shout out Tetra, man. You're really, backbone of this. So thank you
No
for
money.
pushing me and keeping me
We
going.
are a team, and then Zach still updates. Zach has still not provided me a show. He doesn't really want me to come to see him. He doesn't want it. I told him to give me a show that he wants me to come down to, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm just putting it out there.
We'll
So
see. We'll see.
if I don't see Zach, it's his fault.
He just refuses to visit. I just want you to come visit me, man.
All right, we'll see everyone for next time.
But